Peggy and Harold "Red" Rowland are second-generation Aspenites, born here in 1915 and 1908. Their contributions to the development of Aspen from near ghost town to booming ski resort are often overshadowed. Peggy's parents owned the Cooper bookstore, her grandparents the Lamb drugstore.
My grandparents, 3 of them lived here, so I came back summers, which I loved here, and I always had a horse. So I went to school in Denver, spent my summers here, and then I went to college. I went to CSU, graduated in home ec, and I was a pacemaker there, where there were 4 girls and 4 boys got selected. I belonged to mortarboard.
When Red was only 8 years old, his father died, so he spent his childhood working.
He had a horse always, and he built a V-shaped wooden plow on it, and he would go out and plow sidewalks. Some people would give him a quarter, sometimes a nickel, maybe they wouldn't pay him at all. And they had milk cows, and so he delivered milk, 10 cents a quart.
When Peggy was 4, her family moved to Denver, but continued to spend summers here, just a block away from Red. Peggy and Red's common interests brought them together, and after a 4-year courtship, they were married just as skiing was becoming important to Aspen.
Red and I were married at Maroon Lake in 1939.
How did you
We
meet?
weren't hippies either. He was not a Catholic and I was. And so we just decided maybe we both loved the outdoors, that maybe that would be the best church for us.
The couple had a gypsy existence in their first years of marriage.
Well, he worked for the Denver Grand Railroad, running a bulldozer again, clearing snow off the tracks and landslides and that
Was that
sort
in
of
Denver?
thing. Well, it was between Denver and Salt Lake.
Oh, but you were
We
based in
moved
Denver.
19 times the first year we were married. We had an outfit car on the tracks, and it was rugged.
The Rowland's odyssey ended in 1946 when Red began his 30-year association with the Aspen Skiing Corporation as a pioneer ski lift builder, and from 1951 to 1957 as the man in charge of day-to-day operations. He was that unique boss who filled in for his lift operators on their lunch break. During a discussion in 1986 about the early days of the Ski Corp, former President Darcy Brown joked about Red's sense of dedication.
I can remember when you used to think that skiers were something that got in the way of the smooth operation of your lifts.
Darcy also gave Red a lot of credit. Dick Durrance concurred. The former Ski Corp general manager summed up Red's importance to skiing this way.
If it hadn't been for Red, nothing would have run. He made all the wheels turn. He fixed all the towers, and the first, one of the first lifts was an old mining tram converting into a chairlift. And it was Red that made that run, and was always there day and night, making everything go. He was the guy that really got the mountain in operation, got the skiers up the hill.
Building ski lifts, not skiing, was Red's passion. He built all of Aspen Mountain's first lifts. Peggy says Red only learned to ski in order to inspect the lifts. Red sometimes got down the mountain in unusual ways.
Made it all right going up, and coming down is what hurt me. I'll just put a log between my leg and come on down the hill.
While Red worked on the mountain, Peggy raised 4 children just 5 years apart. When her twins went to school, she went back to teaching.
And I substituted from first grade through all grades, including boys' PE, which was a nightmare, German, which my daughter was taking so she could help me, every subject practically. I substituted for years.
Peggy continued to be active in the schools. She was elected county superintendent in 1962, was PTA president twice, served on the school board, and held offices locally and statewide in the PEO, an educational group. Despite Red's busy schedule, he found time to spend with his family.
He loved hunting season. That was his favorite. We camped together with the children in the summer. We had 6 horses, one for everybody. And so we did pack trips. And
Where'd you go?
almost any place. You name it, we've been there in Pitkin County.
Red retired from the ski company in 1976. Peggy says Red never met a stranger.
He just loved people. You know, when he retired, that's what he did. He'd go to the market or he'd go to the filling station and just visit with people.
Red's dedication to Aspen continued until his death in 1987. The Rowlands were the kind of people that define a community. Red was Good Sam.
He and Lawrence Elisha, at 2 in the morning, someone would call and say they had a sick horse or a sick cow or a leaky pipe or most anything. Those two fellows would go help them. No pay, just to be a good fella. And I still like to do that one-to-one. I like to go call on the elderly people that are home. And so I guess just trying to cheer people up a little bit, or at least make them think they have a friend.
Aspen is lucky to have had the Rowlands' contributions for most of this century.